Hey everyone, welcome back. As always, I'm Sum.
And I'm Koaty, and this is Koaty Sum, and we are the duo that does more than each other.
So we're back with another episode of In Bed with Koaty and Sumner.
And we're in bed.
And we're in bed.
And I'm Koaty.
And we're in, and I'm Sumner. And we're in our main bedroom today. And I actually didn't realize until today that this is how we sleep. He's on that side, I'm on this side. But when we do all our videos, we're reversed.
Yeah.
And when we take pictures, it's how we take pictures. I take pictures on that side and you're on this side.
Usually try to get on this side.
What, for pictures?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I
don't care.
In a group or anything. I never like being in the middle. I like being on the end and usually on that end.
I don't mind being in the middle if I don't have to go like this.
Like this. Yeah. I don't like doing that pose.
Because then I look weird.
Yeah, I don't like that pose either. So, back with my husband, fiance, partner, my favorite person to talk about. Do you know what we're talking about?
No, what are we talking about?
So we've been getting a lot of questions online recently since we've been doing other podcasts about our relationship. So I just typed off or wrote out some of them.
So just like open relationship.
Yeah.
questions.
I mean, what would you even say our relationship is?
I would say open, but then, there's always that little disclaimer.
Like open-ish. We're not monogamous.
Yeah. I feel like every open relationship has rules and guidelines, and that's what ours has.
I would definitely say we're not polyamorous.
Yeah. We're not looking for like other boyfriends.
Yeah. So
we're just looking for a good time quick.
A good time thing.
But like just like
a weekend boyfriend.
If you watched our show House of Heat, one of the Daily Mail articles that came out about us was when we revealed that we met in a threesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
speaking of House of Heat, there's a lot of drama with that show going on right now. Not going to talk about it, but if you follow the other castmates,
not going to talk about it, just going to bring it up.
If you follow the other castmates, they are clawing at each other's throats.
Clawing at each other. I'm staying out of this one.
Finally, we're not involved in this one.
I think they're just they're not making themselves look too good. I don't know. They're doing a lot of game of telephone rather than the person who's actually involved in the story coming forward about it. So I don't know. I don't agree with it.
The wrong people are spilling tea that don't have the receipts. So what they're saying is like hearsay, and it's
Also, the person with the least amount of following in the whole house is the one talking about it. So it just really looks like you're chasing clout. But I don't know.
Whatever.
But yeah, we did meet in a threesome, and so I mean, I had done threesomes in a relationship, of course, since you met me in one. But I think until me, you had experimented with couples, but you had never experimented with a third while being in a relationship until me.
No, before you, I was like sort of in a throuple for like 2 months, but I was like their third. Like they were married already.
Yeah.
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 But it did get to the point where it felt like I was dating them for a hot second.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I've never been in a polyamorous relationship or in a throuple, which if you're not familiar, polyamorous is a little different than just being open. Polyamorous is where you allow yourself to date and even maybe fall in love with other people outside of your relationship. So where monogamy, I would say, I would say we're sexually open, emotionally we're monogamous.
Yes.
We're monogamous emotionally.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day,
on dates.
Yeah, we're not going on dates.
No.
So we'll get to some of your questions, but one thing I wanted to bring up, I had read this study from this sex therapist that asked, why they interviewed couples that were monogamous and asked them, why do you choose monogamy, or why is that your preference? And the common answer they got was fear. So fear of being left by their partner, fear of being jealous, fear of not being good enough,
fear of being envious.
Yeah, and so. When reading that, I was like, that makes a lot of sense. And when we started to become or explore with other people or inviting other people into the bedroom, those are all issues and discussions that we had to have to overcome those fears. And so I would probably say, we've gotten through that. I mean, there's always going to be times where you need to check in with each other, but honestly, that was it.
If your main answer and your only answer is that fear, I would say that you should just do it, because that's what I love about us being open is we were forced to have those conversations, and like we don't have that toxic jealousy anymore, or it never got to a level where it was like going to break us up. And I feel like a lot of people who are monogamous, their main issues in their relationships are that stuff.
Yeah.
So just have the conversations. Even if you end up still being monogamous, at least you like had the conversations and you are communicating on your feelings. Like
Right.
that's cool. And it's just going to make you grow in the end.
If that's something that you want to explore, of course.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if I support if anyone wants to be monogamous, I support if they want to be polyamorous, whatever kind of relationship that you want to choose, it's got to be between you and what you and your partner want.
Because
but for us, I know that I'm never going to be able to 100% complete all your desires all the time for the rest of our life.
Yeah. I think it's crazy to think people who are monogamous, like your partner is going to think other people are attractive. Like that's just, even if they say they're not, like that's just life. Like as human beings, we're attracted to each other. People are going to find each other attractive. That doesn't mean they're going to act on those feelings, but there are other people in the world that you think are attractive, and I think monogamy, whereas if that's the way you're going, like you should still be able to have those conversations of, oh, I'm attracted to this person too, or like talk about that.
Do you think liking and commenting on someone you find attractive's Instagram is cheating?
No.
Is that why?
It's so public.
That's such a hetero thing. I feel like we're just,
public.
They talk about.
I mean, if you're monogamous, you shouldn't be commenting on someone's picture like, I want to, take you in the back alley and,
But I like you said, you're never not going to find other people attractive. Like just because you find me attractive or we're together and you love me, I cannot expect you to see a hot guy walk across you on the beach or whatever out on the sidewalk and you not to be like, wow, that guy's hot. Like that's just human nature.
Yeah.
Or if you're scrolling on Instagram, we know so many gays and they love to post their shirtless selfies and whatever. If you want to like it because you're like, damn, they look really good. Like what is.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't bother me. So those are just from conversations that we've gotten through. I guess I should really get to these questions though that we got.
Let's do it. We're already 10 minutes in.
Yeah. So how did we first decide to open up our relationship and what were the initial fears?
I think going into our relationship, we always knew it would end up being open in some way. And I think we just let it happen organically. We did have conversations about it before it happened. Like I know our first one, I remember I wasn't ready, but I said like I knew I would be one day, and like you mentioned that like it's something you ended up seeing happening, which I agree to, but it didn't happen until we were just at a party and we both vibed with this guy and we just decided to bring him back, and that was like, we didn't plan it or schedule it. We weren't like, oh, it needs to happen by this time. We just let it happen.
What were the initial fears?
Initial fears. I guess the initial fears are like, oh, is he going to think this person's better in bed than me? Or, people do say 3's a crowd, and in some instances 3 is a crowd. So there are times when it's like the two people are going at it and you're like, what do I do?
What do I
do? You're like circling around them. but that's just stuff that is more, I'm reflecting my own issues. It's not like anything you or the other person are doing. It's just, it comes with experience that you learn to jump in.
Yeah.
Kind of,
I had those fears too of feeling the left out feeling, like what if we get back and this person not that they're into you more than me, but just that, you guys are going at it and it's like, oh, what do I do? I'm just like here. I don't know. And it's just, fear of getting in your head.
Yeah.
But now I can just actually just take a step back and watch you with someone for an extended period of time and just be like, oh, this is hot. Cool. I'm like good.
I learned I like to watch too.
Yeah.
Like that kind of resolved itself.
That resolved itself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you play separately or together?
95% of the time we are playing together. You do studio, so you're obviously doing sexual acts without me, but that's not really that intimate. But
it's not intimate at all.
Yeah. There's not, but there's like a handful of times that we have played separately, but we definitely have told each other before or after, or but our preference, going into it, we always want it to be both of us there. It's only really happened when we've been in separate cities or on the gay cruise.
Exactly. Okay, so what are some unexpected positives that have come from being open?
Again, like I feel like it forces you to communicate and talk about really hard topics that, people that are not open don't have because they aren't open, like
Mm-hmm.
we talk about the jealousy and we talk about our feelings after bringing someone else in, and how it made you feel, and how something specific made you feel. And it just it's scary at first, but once you do it a few times, it just, we don't have to have those conversations anymore, because 99% of the time after it, we're like, good. Like, that was fun. Cool.
Yeah.
Like, and then we go on our own little date, or, watch a movie together.
I'm just like, all right, they can leave so we can go watch our latest show.
Yeah.
So I can go back to my reality TV hole that I've been in lately.
But also, I feel like we were able to learn with each other, because, like, sometimes you're like, oh, you're a lot more vocal with that person than with me. And it's just like, no, for me, I learned that's just like, because I'm really in the moment and being intimate and feeling the passion from you. Whereas, like, being vocal, like with a third, it's like, we consider that third like a sex toy, and it's fun. So that's when you're like, yeah.
I don't know. Well, yeah, but I also know, I know you all enough to know when you're like performatively enjoying something, which isn't
Yeah.
bad. Like, that's just kind of what you do. That's what you do with someone new that you aren't comfortable with yet. We've all been on first date hookups, and we make them feel like they did something the right way when really they didn't, because we didn't want to like make the first time awkward. It's like, that's something that we learned over the years of being together. I know exactly what you like and what you don't like.
Yeah.
And I can tell now when you're just like, yeah, that's fine. And I'm like, he doesn't
Well,
like
that's
that.
a positive. That's a positive. That's a positive too, because we're together for 5 years, and you and I know what each other like,
Yeah.
and we bring a third in. So, like, as we like have fun with more and more people, yeah, it's fun. And
It's not that it's bad.
some people are better than others.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I'm like, no one compares to you now, because you know exactly what
Yeah,
I like and
well,
what I don't.
Just like, for example, the other day we had someone over where, it was for an OF collab, and I sat it out. I was like, I'll just film them. So, and he started
I know
doing
where you're going with
something.
this.
He started doing something. I'm not going to say what it was, but like, he started doing something, and I know it's not something that you really enjoy. And he was like, how is that? And you're like, yeah, it's
He
good.
did. He did ask.
He did ask, and like for the video, whatever, no one's gonna know the difference. I just know that it's not something that's in your preference of what you just like me to do to you. But on the flip side, it can just be hot knowing that, hey, like, this new person, this is something that they like and they want to do to you. So like that can be hot in
But,
itself, But like, I kind of chuckled while I was filming a little bit to myself, because I was like, he doesn't like that.
In my opinion, like, really nice to ask, but since we're filming an OnlyFans video, like, you don't really need to ask, because I'm not gonna like, no, don't do that on a video, and I feel like it's a buzzkill.
Yeah. And it's not that it was like, it's nothing that he did was
and it's nothing
bad.
Like, it's nothing like super kinky.
No.
It's just me being a little vanilla.
But I guess an unexpected positive for me, just to that came to my mind, that I'll answer, is I didn't realize how much I would really get into voyeurism, or just like watching you with someone. Like, that's why I can take a step back when we're having a third, and just like, I could take a step back for like a good 5-10 minutes and just watch, because like, one, it's really hot, and then also, if we're recording something, I love watching it back later, like an experience that I wasn't involved in, and that's an unexpected. Like, I didn't expect to have that kind of be like a kink.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would definitely say I'm not a cuck, because like, I love being involved, and I'm just saying, like, I love also when I'm not involved. Like, I love both. Like, I love being involved, but I love when I'm not involved, that I can just sit back and just not feel like I need to be doing anything, because I, just for the sake of doing something, I can just watch you and enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I didn't expect that. Okay. So, let me make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay. We don't need it. No. Okay.
What's happening?
That was just a question that I feel like we've already kind of answered. So,
Okay.
have there been moments of jealousy, and how have we handled them?
Yeah, I would say there's definitely jealousy, especially when you even started studio, and I didn't think I'd be jealous, but I was. But it's something I like dealt on my own. But I feel like throughout this process, we have talked so much about it, is like, it got to the point where you even were like, oh, you're not being jealous enough. I need to know that you like still want me. Like, so I think in the last year or two, we've learned there's a level of jealousy that's good, and there's a level of jealousy that's bad. And you need a little jealousy, because if you don't have none, it makes the other person kind of feel like, oh, do you even care at all?
Yeah, do you even care about me? just so fun, attractive. I guess to elaborate on that, is there a specific moment that you feel the last time you can think that you were jealous or experienced jealousy, and like how we work through it?
I mean, nothing really specific comes to mind.
It's been so many years. I
Yeah.
mean, we were monogamous for the first year, so we built our foundation. That's one thing I always say is when people, especially in LA, they get into a relationship and they're 2 weeks later they're open, or they're open from the beginning. And to me, that's just not how I would do it. I feel like you need to build a foundation first, that and build an emotional bond and build an emotional foundation. So when you start doing that, that's just kind of cherry on top. And that's not that to me. If you're open right away, you're just like best friends that are screwing other people.
I think the one that comes to mind the most is when I was away for work and you went to a music festival and you like hooked up with like another couple, and I actually hooked up with one of the couple before, and then like another one of our friends was involved. So it kind of felt like it was was 4 people and it was another couple. So it like made me more jealous than usual, because it felt like, oh, like that other guy's in my spot, and like I don't know, I just had a certain feeling about it.
Yeah, which we talked. I know.
Yeah, we talked about it.
Yeah,
like that's the last time I think I actually had to like talk to you about something I was feeling or like got upset. But it also played in part where it was like 3 or 4 days we haven't seen each other, and like you were partying and having fun, and I was working, and it, like it just was like
there was a culmination.
There was a lot of things going on mentally for me, and I was in Seattle, which was super gloomy and boring at the time. So it just was. Yeah. There was just it was like a lot going on at once that made me feel that way.
Yeah, it wasn't just like the one thing. But I mean, it was very understandable afterwards and talking to you about it. I think that speaks to just us always remembering like each other's intent, and and when we do end up talking about things, sometimes it's not that we actually overstepped or did something that's outside of our boundaries. It's just something that we hadn't experienced yet. And so when it does happen, we're like, oh, it's not that you did something wrong. It's just that I haven't experienced this feeling yet. And now we just need to like, kind of talk through it and one, like reestablish boundaries, which is something we kind of did, like being like, okay, let's not do that again in the future. Like now that we know, like maybe that's something that like should be on our boundary list.
Or just, talk about it more before and listen and make a decision and both be okay with the decision.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
And that's just when it comes to like communication, and just like that's why like even once you're open, there's going to be times where you have to still have those talks, because something's going to happen that unexpectedly is going to make you feel a certain way, and you just talk about it. And so having check-ins and clear communication all the time, and not expecting once you've gotten to a place that it's just going to be perfect forever. Okay.
That's long.
What?
That's a long question.
Yeah. Well, no, it's a 2-part. What are the biggest boundaries we've set for ourselves in our openish relationship?
I mean, I think the main boundary is
I would say we don't like if we've hooked up with someone as a third, like we don't date them. They don't like come over and cuddle. I
think that's the biggest boundary is
a hookup
is a hookup, not saying like, oh, you can never go with that person again, but it kind of like you don't want it to become something like you like feel like looks like you're dating someone.
There's no emotional involvement.
Yeah, no emotion. Not that we're gonna say, oh, hook up, we hate you. Like, there's plenty of people we've hooked up with who are like friends of ours, but honestly, the ones that are friends, we don't really hook up with quite as often.
Yeah. Oh, I would say actually just that is actually an unexpected benefit, that there's been a lot of times where we meet someone and they become kind of our weekend boyfriend, and then we've stayed really close with them as friends after. Like we've made a lot of friends through like kind of like being flirtatious first and allowing the experience to happen, and then being friends after. That actually has been a good benefit.
But that's what I would say the biggest boundary is like don't be doing romantic shit. Hook up, but I don't want you like going to dinner and going shopping and going to the movies with this person.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's us together and we're becoming friends, like that's another thing. But like, you know.
There's no
Yeah.
romance allowed.
Yeah.
There's no romance allowed. That's
Yeah.
kind of our boundary. I would say our biggest boundary that you can really like solidify is that there's no. That's why we're emotionally monogamous.
Yeah. Go fuck, get your Uber and leave. No sleeping over, no cuddling and watching
Yeah.
Netflix.
Do you get jealous when someone is into me more? Someone asked.
I used to, not quite as much.
Yeah.
Because one, it doesn't happen too much. I mean, I would say since you're doing studio porn, you are more visible than me now, so you get a lot more attention in that way. But like, I don't mind that for some reason, But then there are a lot of times when I get it too. So it's just, I think it was just a balance and just realizing, not like you can be hot and attractive, and not everyone is going to be into you. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of how I look at things now. I mean, I definitely get a little more jealous if it's someone like I really like.
See, I think that's where it's like, I think anyone that would answer this question saying no is lying to themselves. Like, I think it is completely normal whether you're my partner or you were just my best friend, like back when we were single. Like, if you both go after the same guy and the guy's only into, say it was my best friend. Well, you are my best friend, but back when we were single and they went into after my friend over me, like, of course that's gonna make the person be like, oh, like, shoot, I wanted that guy, like that sucks for anyone.
But that's and that's like another one of our boundaries. It's like, if I'm into someone and they're only into him, and like he knows that, like, he's not gonna hook up with him, and we're just not gonna hook up with him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're not gonna, for one fuck, it's not gonna be like, oh, we're gonna hurt each other's feelings in that way. You know?
That comes into just like veto power of just like, okay, if there was a guy that was really into me that, was disrespecting you or making you feel a certain way, you have every right to be like, babe, this is making me feel uncomfortable. I'm not into this. And then we walk away.
Because there's always sometimes there's those people, it's like when you like your boyfriend hooked up with them, but you didn't. And they're like, oh, you'll be at the bar and they're like, oh, I thought your boyfriend fucked me or something. It's like, stay away from those people, because it's like it feels like they are the types that like want to get in between your relationship.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not going to happen with us. It's like, if anyone tries, like, good luck. But
I think there's also been that's very, very accurate. I think on the reverse end too, there's also been times where there has been someone that's more into you that I can tell, and you're also really into them that I'm just not as into. So I'm like, I just kind of enjoy being able to back off. And I think on the flip side, there's been there's been guys that I'm really into that you're like, that are really into me over you, that you're just not into as well, that you're like, I'm gonna go dance with our friends because I'm
and in those
not really into this guy.
We're like, if I'm not into him and he is, and they're having fun, I'm like, oh, go do it.
Yeah.
Like that young guy on the cruise.
Yeah. I think the only time is when it's like, when we're both really into someone and then he only ends up being into one of us, like, that's a bummer.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen very often, but I think it is a normal feeling to be like, oh, like, I'm a little envious that they're only into you or they're only into me, whatever.
Yeah.
I think anyone who says otherwise would be lying, but I think it's a normal human feeling. Okay. How do we prioritize each other emotionally?
I mean, I feel like we really try to have date nights, and we are so busy. We have so many jobs. We're doing so many things, and we schedule sex. We literally schedule sex. I mean, we don't have like a strict schedule.
When's our next dick appointment?
Probably when you get back from San Diego. So we schedule sex as in, like, we don't schedule like a week out, but like if it's been a day or two, one of us will be like, hey, when do you want to have sex?
No, but
and we'll schedule it the next day or two.
But like emotionally.
Oh, emotionally?
Not sexually.
Oh, well,
yeah.
I feel like my emotions are wrapped up sexually.
I mean, I think for you, it's quality time. So just making sure that we, like you said, have those date nights, whether it's just going to the movie, time where we're, even if we're just like sitting on the couch, catching up on our reality shows, like going to dinner, like we really do prioritize spending time together.
Yeah, we do. And we both get really hot at night, but like, you like being touched, so like I try to cuddle you for as long as I can, but now we both have a bad back, so it's hard to like, that's something we have to work on.
Yeah,
I think.
But we do cuddle a lot, and we spend a lot of time together. So I think those being our love languages.
Always say I love you. Always like I always like if I leave for work, kiss him on the forehead, even if he's
Yeah.
sleeping. You know, it's just
It's
like
a little-
small things.
It's a little different for us since I guess, since we do work from home and we are in business together, that
we have the
some of this
quality time.
we do have the quality time and we'd have the opportunity to prioritize each other more
Yeah.
emotionally. But we still do.
Yeah. And I feel like it's something over time. Like I used to tease him as a flirtation, and you didn't like that. And
I like it
you know,
sometimes.
now I've gotten better at not doing that to you, and I feel like that's just
His toxic trait
one
is
of my way of like showing you I love you.
his toxic trait is teasing me until I'm annoyed and then saying it's flirting.
Mhm.
Speaking of flirting, who is better at flirting?
I would say initially I was way better than you, but you've gotten a lot better. But I still think I'm a little better.
I'm good with that answer, so I'll just leave it there. Okay, how do we approach talking to a potential interest? That's so different. I think just like person to person,
That's
know?
honestly when we first started getting open, you weren't as forward and you didn't find it as easy to do it. So it was kind of like I would initiate conversation, and then
Yeah.
once you got comfortable talking, like you were good. But now you, I think, actually sometimes
You
go in first before I do.
Yeah, it really just it
really
sometimes
depends on the
sometimes
mood.
person.
Am I drinking? How many drinks have I had?
Yeah,
Kind
and
of
sometimes we're just
situation.
if we're out dancing, say we're at just like an event, or when we were in London, just like depends on whose eyes meet first.
Yeah, I think
If my eyes meet the guy first and they like make it clear that they want to say hello, I say hello. Same thing if it goes, so but it's usually someone that we've kind of been like, oh, look at that guy, so we're checking him out.
I think usually I try to go have a conversation, get to know them a little bit, and then if we become friendly and I feel the chemistry, I'm always like, "You're really hot," or like I compliment them
Yeah.
in some way. And then if we leave a party or whatever, then I'll slide into their DMs and be like, "Hey, it was really nice meeting you."
Yeah, that is true. That's
Like that's the easy proven system.
It's a good system because it's oh, you're hot. Oh, let me get your Instagram.
or
Oh,
your
then
phone number,
messages.
and you text. You always send that like kind of like after you have a job interview and you leave, and you always send that thank you
follow
email.
up. Yeah,
It's kind of like
keep it top
you
of
gotta
mind.
send
It's like,
that,
hey,
like-
you want me to come over?
you gotta send that. Oh, I'm interested.
You're
text.
saying, hey, it was nice to meet you, but you're secretly saying, hey, do you want to come over?
Yes, seriously.
Yeah, and another thing on that is that if we do, I tend to do that now too. I'll be like, oh, I'll give them some sort of compliment.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, like you have such a nice chest, or you're very attractive, or whatever.
Yeah.
If they haven't said it to us already first, if I need to say it first, and I kind of gauge how they respond to that. If they just go, oh, thanks, then I'm usually like, okay, maybe they're just they're not maybe feeling it, or sometimes they're sometimes they're maybe shy or whatever. But
Honestly,
if they give me a compliment back, then I usually gauge that of a level of interest.
Yeah.
Like I gave you a compliment, they compliment back. I'm like, okay.
Once the nudes start getting sent, then you're like, all right, we're in.
Yeah. I know. If we say we have an OF and then they're like, oh, let me see your Twitter.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, they want to see some stuff, so we can go from there. Okay, so what advice to give to people thinking open up their relationships, or top 5 rules? Okay, I'll answer this, and you can kind of elaborate if you want to. I would say top 5 rules. I would say would be clear communication all the time.
You're like both ready,
Yes. Checking in regularly.
especially at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yep.
No secrets. Like express every want, desire, need. Like otherwise, it's not gonna work. And then I would say spending quality time together, like making sure that you still have quality time, to where that's just the cherry on top. It's not replacing anything.
Yeah.
And then I would say the veto power.
Yeah.
Like let each person, especially if you're a couple that plays together, the one of you needs to be able to veto. As long as you're not vetoing like 90% of the time, then okay, let's talk about like your comfort levels. But every once in a while, if you need to veto, you should be able to veto.
Yeah.
That'd be my 5.
Yeah. Wait, what was the 4th one?
No secrets. Well, quality
No.
time. Quality time is
No.
spending time together.
I forget. There was something I wanted to say, but
I said communication, checking in regularly, no secrets, quality time together, and veto power. Those are the 5.
all right. There, I forget what I was gonna say, but I had a
Oh.
comment, but it's fine. That was good.
Dang.
There was one that was like my most important, but for some reason it just
I think it was
Fell on my skull.
check in regularly, and you said especially at the beginning. I don't know. You got 2
No.
seconds.
no. That's good. That's good. That's all I
All
got.
Well, those were all your questions. I hope we were able to maybe clarify, give some insight onto what works for our relationship and how it could translate to your own relationship. If it's
Yeah.
something
And,
you were
and,
looking
and
to.
again, this isn't like, oh, you should have a, open relationship. Like, I have tons of friends who are monogamous. Their relationships are fantastic. This is just kind of our point of view. If you want to open it up and kind of comparing the pros of how it made us stronger as a couple, but everyone's different, and we support all relationship types.
Except for straight people.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. All right. Well, that's been In Bed with Koaty and Sumner. That's us. So
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
see you next time.